You know Tony Jaa?
Yes.
You know Tony Jaa. Do you know that you're his idol? Do you know that?
I don't know.
Well, he always mentions to the press that he is what he is today because of Jackie Chan.
I think he's great. You know, I see so many action stars in the world. He's the one of them very, very physical. You know, action, jumping, you know, do all the things really, really good. I think he's lucky. He sees so many our film.
Yeah.
Now he can combine everything together.
Yeah.
Used to be we don't know which way we're going. Okay, first kung fu, bang, bang, bang. Later on kung fu with action, then kung fu action with a stunt, stunt with acrobatic. After acrobatic, you're doing a motorcycle, car stunt, everything. Yeah. Now Tony Jaa, the same, you know, boom, you see everything, put everything together, boom, in the one movie.
I've heard it argued several times that the best action involves characters with strong characterization whom we've grown to care about as an audience. The Raid makes a very strong case for just the opposite. Without looking it up, can you even tell me the main character's name? What is he fighting for? What are his fears? Don't worry, this isn't an accident. This is all part of a trend going back several years. In the 1990s, we saw the power of star vehicles for people like Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme, and Seagal go into sharp decline in the wake of special effects showcases like Jurassic Park and Independence Day. When The Matrix was released in 1999, it came with excellent gunfights and well-choreographed fight scenes, but it was the special effects that ended up stealing the show. Skill and daring were suddenly out of demand. Stars like Jet Li and Jackie Chan, who were mostly known for their skill and fearlessness, went from doing this to this. And to be fair, Chan had entered the end of his martial arts heavy career at that point after sustaining many near-lethal injuries, and Lee was simply trying to stay relevant to the times. But in all the artificiality now saturating the films of the action genre, people wanted something real and edgy and raw. And this is where a young man named Panam Urim came in. And we would come to know as Tony Jaa. Not only did Jaa showcase a particularly striking martial art that had never been seen since Kickboxer, but he, like Jackie Chan before him, was a consummate stuntman. 2003's Ong Bak is an excellent showcase for Jaa's athletic abilities. But that's about it. The narrative is not exactly compelling. Being a somewhat slight retooling of a Bruce Lee formula. But you wouldn't know that from the critical reviews. Audiences and critics alike loved the star vehicle format, and the filmmakers were able to replicate the success with 2005's Tom Yum-goong, where again very little characterization is given to Jaa's character, and the overall narrative is about as simple as it gets. It was around this time that a Welsh film school alumni named Gareth Evans was putting together his own film. Eventually released as Footsteps, the movie gained some attention for its focus on seedy underground violence. And it was this focus on violence Evans brought to Indonesia, where he would make a harsher, more violent version of Ong Bak in 2009's Merantau. What Evans had lacked in Footsteps was a budget and a star, and he found both in Indonesia, where money could go a long way and the country had its own unique martial art known as Pencak Silat. Merantau is just as focused on making Silat practitioner Iko Uwais a star as Ong Bak was with Tony Jaa. As I've alluded, it's basically the same formula Bruce Lee used for Way of the Dragon. We've got the seemingly naive main character from a rural area who is a devout practitioner of a specific martial art, who means well but stumbles unwittingly into an underground mafia sort, and has to fight them all to save some new friends. It's a simple enough formula, and one can use it to overlay additional plot elements, but mostly it's just an outline in which a filmmaker can place a showcase of stunt work or choreography that makes his players look good. Now, when Gareth Evans went on to make his next movie, he decided to work less inside of a particular genre formula than to assemble something fairly new from aspects of other films. He brought that focus of violence, lack of levity, and much of the more capable elements of Merantau's cast as well. The Raid is an exhaustive tour de force of violent choreography, gore, and pounding, exciting filmmaking, where Merantau owed much to the Thai action movie explosion brought on by Ong Bak and the films that followed, but with some Hong Kong sensibilities. Raid pays homage to more Western sensibilities like Die Hard and Western-influenced Hong Kong actioners like Hard Boiled. What is most surprising, perhaps, is that the movie works at all. There is the barest amount of character development here. Iko is good, almost everyone else is bad. Iko needs to get out, but must defeat the bad guys to do so. There is actually something extraordinary about its simplicity that harkens back to great simple-minded actioners like Commando or Die Hard. And like the original cut of Commando, this is an extremely violent film. Evans, as we saw in Footsteps, is quite clearly drawn to the nasty parts of violence and revels in it here. Faces get dragged across surfaces and smashed against everything. Blades haven't been this scary since slasher films were big, and Evans really lets you feel the wounds they inflict. But the highlight for me is seeing the choreography come to life. The setup of a lot of these battles is simply ridiculous, but the camera work goes a long way in selling the closeness and speed of the fighters. They actually let the choreography dictate the camera work. In this way, the use of handheld filmmaking actually adds to the experience. Note here how the camera doesn't just move at our protagonists in a center fashion, but comes out diagonally into the middle of them, following the fighter. And that's really the big separation, once again, between a film like this and many other more Hollywood types of action films. They take the time to work it out. Evans actually filmed the entire feature with a handheld camera for a pre-visual reference guide before shooting the full movie with a crew.
Dari semua jurus-jurus, dari semua gerakan-gerakan koreo yang kita buat, memang banyak ada bilang, oh ini mirip Muay, ini mirip Karate. Dari semua style itu ada beberapa perbedaan. Payan pernah bilang, tubuh orang ini nggak ada yang beda, tangan dan sikut, kaki dan lutut gitu. Kita pukul dengan tangan, kita sikut pakai sikut, kita tendang pakai kaki. Tapi ada beberapa sebelum kita melakukan gerakan tersebut, kita punya proses gitu.
You can tell a lot of time and effort went into the making of this movie. If the movie falters at all in its action, it's during the gun battles. The crew used airsoft guns, and so the muzzle flashes, bullet holes, and most of the squib work is digital, and oftentimes you can tell. Aside from that minor gripe, the only real downside to the Raid is its lack of star power. One never gets a sense of who Iko Uwais' character, Rama, by the way, really is. Not that we need to know all that much of a character to have him make an impact in an action film. Let's put it this way. Rama isn't going to be remembered in the pantheon of great action movie heroes. It's the same way no one really remembers Bruce Lee's character of Tang Long. You remember Lee, and you remember he fought Chuck Norris. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to remember that Steven Seagal's character in Alfred Justice was named Gino Felino to remember how awesome it was when he totally wrecked that bar. Tony Jaa's characters were fairly clean slates as well, but all the impressive stunt work hid that from us. Here we have the tight choreography and brutal violence, but it almost isn't enough. I say almost because at an hour and a half, it's just long enough to let us out the movie still feeling exhilarated. Time will tell if Iko Uwais can join among the greats of past and present, but the real test for the raid will be to see if it can lead to more exciting films in the genre, building upon its style as it built upon the films that came before it. If nothing else, it proves that while Hollywood was still trying to ape the styles of Eastern actioners, but leaning way too heavy on special effects, there are still people in the world making great action films.
It seems to me to be based on having watched loads of movies, decided what you like about those movies, and just taking them what you need.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I decided to kind of make a film which was going to be all set within one location, that one building, that's what I did. I went back to kind of research all those films that I loved watching growing up. So it was Die Hard, Assault on Precinct 13, even like District B13, Rec 1 and 2, and all these different films. And
well, Rec 1, but
Rec 1.
2.